Okay, yeah, welcome to our first series. In this series, we'll be going through how to program a Discord bot all the way from the basics of JavaScript to having a complete full moderation Discord bot and many other features packed in your Discord bot, so you can use it for your server or for other people's server. Of course, you can release it, do whatever you want. Before we start with any of the code, we need to head over to Google. All the links is going to be in the description, by the way. But we need to head over to https://code.visualstudio.com. Here you need to download the version for your platform, so Windows, macOS, Linux, or anything of that sort. Then head over to the second link and download the recommended for most users from the nodejs.org. Node.js is basically something that allows us to run a JavaScript file outside of a HTML file. So yeah, now let's jump into our Visual Studio Code as we downloaded. Now I want you to hit File, Open Folder, and then find the folder you have for your code. You can create one if you don't have one. Yeah, and then when you open the folder, I want you to basically create a JavaScript file. You can call it, for example, main.js, index.js, whatever you want. Just make sure it ends with a JS. Now we're going to be going through some basic stuff. So the first is curly brackets or braces. These are used, for example, in if statements. So if, and then we open that up. It's also used in functions and many other stuff in JavaScript. Now the brackets, they are used to signify a function or a method. So for example, let's say we have a function that's called world. We would put it like this to signify that's a function. The square brackets is used to signify an array or index of a object in an array. So so we can just put it like this, like this, and just going on. So yeah, that's an array. That's how you signify it with these square brackets. The semicolon is basically the same as the period in the English language. So for example, my name is suffix and period. In JavaScript, it's basically the same. So let's say we take back our world function. Now we put a semicolon to signify that it's the end of the function. Now an arrow function is the same basically as a function, but just that it's an anonymous function. You could give it a name with a variable, but we're gonna be showing you how to do that in later videos. For this video, I'll just be showing you how to create it. So this is the syntax you would use, and then you would open it up. Now in an arrow function, you can have parameters. So for example, name, age, and different stuff. You would probably often use this, or you would use this in a module.exports. You would use this, for example, the arrow function. In here you can put parameters you pass through from other files. The string is used to basically signify text. So it's a series of characters. Could be one, could be multiple. So I'm gonna show you a console.log, which is a method that sends a something to the terminal. So console.log, and you would signify a string with the quotation marks, and hello world. Now if we run this, open your command prompt or hit terminal and then new terminal, and you can type node space dot or node space and then the name of the file. I see we need to do something first. We need to type in npm init and then -y, just skip all the steps. This is going to make a package.json file appear. Now we don't need to care about what's in here. Now if we now clear, now if we type node space dot, we are going to see hello world. We can also use variables, so I'll show you a variable that's signified with let or var, but we're going to be using let, and the name of the variable, so hello, and then uppercase W there. It's a camel case notation, so basically every word after the first word starts with a uppercase letter, and that's going to be equal to, we use the equal sign to give it a value, so that's going to be equal to a string and then hello world. Now if we remove this, we can type in the hello world variable, and we should see the same result if we run the program. Now the or, it's used in a lot of stuff, so we're going to be putting back the console.log here, and then we're going to be making two variables. We're going to be putting in, for example, we're going to be putting in a can drive, or no, we can use that for later. For this, we're just going to be making a that's going to be 15, and then b is equal to 10. See how I use the semicolon to signify the end of the variable. Now we can console log a or b. So this is going to check if the a is not undefined, null, or falsy, it's going to log the a, and if so, if it is falsy, undefined, or null, it's going to log the b. So now if we type in node space dot, it's going to log a 15, but now if we, let's say, change it to 0, that's counted as falsy. So now if we do node space dot, it's going to log the b 10, because 0 is falsy. Now the and is used in what's it called? Yeah, so the and is used in if statements. So if, we're also going to be making two variables, can drive and then age. We're going to be actually, okay, so can drive, we're going to be putting that as null for now. Then age is going to be 18. Now we're going to be getting into some more advanced now, but just bear with me. So let's say that if the age is greater than or equal to 18, open that up with the brackets, then, so yeah, if it's greater or equal to 18, we're going to be putting can drive as true, and then we can console.log can drive. So now if we do node space dot, if we can drive, it's true. Now if we change age to 17 and we do this, node space dot, we see nothing. Now the or statement is is used to check for two variables. So let's say that let lives in America, that's equals to true. Now and lives in America is false. Actually we can do it like this. Oh no, it should work like this too. So if they are 18 and does not live in America, or no, wait, in America it's 16, so if they do live in America, we can actually change this to 16. So if they are 16 or above and live in America, we can put it as they can drive, so we should now see true. But if we change it to false, so they don't live in, and let's say 14, or no, we can put it at 18, so it's still above 16, but since they don't live in America, we won't get any return. So that's how you use the AND operator. It's basically to check if two values are true. So if this is true and this is true, it's going to be returning value. Now the last thing we're going to be going through, or the second to last we're going to be going through, is the comment. So the way you signify a comment is like this or like this. Now this is to put a comment on one line, so hey there. Now this is to put it on multiple lines, so hey there, as you can see. Now comments are basically used to put in some text for your fellow developers that is looking at the code, so they can more easily understand your code. Also, don't mix this with a string. A string is something you do use in, for example, callback functions and stuff, but this is not used in code, but to put in text so people can understand your code more easily. The last thing we're going to be going to is functions and asynchronous functions. So as you saw, the arrow function, you could do this like an arrow function too, but we have our own, or JavaScript has its own name for, or its own thing to make function, and that is of course function. Now we can give this function a name, so hello world, and then with that, and then open that. So we're going to be console.logging hello world. Now if we put in hello world like that, and we run the code, we should see that it says hello world. So functions are basically used to do something later on in the code if you don't want it to run when the code starts. Now we can also put async function, and then we can put await here. Now let's say we remove the async. Now we still have await, but if we now try to run the code, we should see that await is only valid in an asynchronous function. Something you should know before you start with your code is to learn how to read error messages. So it says that the error is on await. It says that it's on line 18. So the thing we can do now is we can actually go into our code, go to line 18, and we see, oh, here it is. Now of course it's not hard for us to find that, but if we have multiple or thousands of lines, it should be harder to find that. So just an easy way to find your error quickly. Now if we run, we should see hello world again. So that's basically it for today's video. If you have any questions, you can join our Discord. Now next video is gonna be how to deploy your bot and some basic commands. So yeah, I'll see you then.